The playoff crowd in Philadelphia for the Phillies in October is a different animal. It's insane. It wasn't something on anyone's minds for years, considering the team hadn't made it to the playoffs since 2011 going into 2022, but after making it in 2022 and going on a deep playoff and World Series run, we were all reminded at how wild Philly can get. I mean, these people mean business. There is no messing around at Citizens Bank Park. You're either ride or die with this team or you can't get into the gates. Literally every single fan is in there going absolutely berserk, and it's not even like they only do it in significant game moments. It can be for anything. For example, imagine you're in a Phillies playoff game getting food or something or not looking at the field for 2 seconds and the crowd roars. There's a good chance that all that happened was a first pitch strike or something. I mean, it's just different there. The crowd goes insane, and all that happened was a single. Like, wild stuff. I will say this, though, to this day, I feel like the best postseason crowd in baseball, and maybe all of sports, is at the Oakland Coliseum. Y'all can clown me all you want, but if you really do think I deserve to be clowned on for this, I'm just going to assume you haven't really ever seen or watched an A's playoff game at home. Now, obvious thing first, they haven't had a home playoff game since 2019. It was one game against the Rays, and from the get-go, the crowd was silenced. The A's were down the entire game and the crowd didn't have much to cheer for or rally around. But people in Oakland get crazy, man. I know we've gotten used to seeing maximum 50 people showing up to A's games nowadays, and just bringing up that team and their situation is depressing, but there was a time where the A's won and had fun crowds, especially in October. This isn't an A's fan video, I know, I just wanted to get that out there. So the Phillies have played 11 playoff games at home since the start of last year's postseason. Of those 11 games, they've won 9 of them. It's crazy to think that the team with the supposed best home field advantage literally got no hit during the World Series last year. Again, pretty wild stuff, but really other than that, the Phillies have been a monster at home in front of their insanely energetic and hyped up crowd. It's become almost expected for them to at the very least come out the gate hot. They whooped the Braves in Game 3 of the NLDS and then held on to a much closer game in Game 4, winning the series. And during these games, the crowd was just as much of a story as what was going on in the field. They were chanting "We want Strider" while also mocking Braves fans by doing the chop chant. Meanwhile, in Arizona, after winning their series, what was one of the things the D-backs as a team did to prepare against the Phillies? By using artificial crowd noise. And with the D-backs beating the Dodgers, the Phillies were now able to host Game 1 of a playoff series for the first time since 2011, and they did not disappoint. On the literal first pitch Kyle Schwarber saw, he would demolish a leadoff bomb. 2 batters later, Bryce Harper then goes deep on his birthday. Nick Castellanos then joined in on the fun, hitting his 5th home run in his last 3 games, all taking place in Philly. After eventually getting ahead 5-0, the Phillies offense unfortunately cooled off but was able to hold on with the help of good pitching by Zach Wheeler and the bullpen, winning Game 1. I'm honestly impressed the D-backs didn't end up getting obliterated in this game. They ended up actually making it interesting in the end, which I feel like is almost a W on its own and should make them feel confident heading into Game 2. To go down 3-0 quickly like that on 3 separate home runs, giving up at least 1 run in 4 of the first 5 innings, only to end up losing by 2 when you're in Philly is pretty insane to do. But regardless, the Phillies did what was expected of them to do. They mostly dominated in a playoff home game. I do feel like we sometimes overlook how much a crowd can affect a game. I've always felt crowd noise and intensity matters the least in baseball, because unlike especially a sport like football where you have a hard time hearing while communicating with your teammates during plays, in baseball, crowd noise shouldn't affect your ability to hit a baseball or to make a good pitch. But the more I think about it, crowd intensity definitely factors in at least somewhat. These players are human beings at the end of the day. And to hear 40,000+ people screaming their heads off, going crazy, rooting for you to fail, could get in your head and make you do things you wouldn't normally do otherwise, such as put extra unnecessary pressure on yourself, which results in swinging at bad pitches, or the crazy noise makes you kind of anxious and nervous and you just screw up. It happens, and I have no doubt crowds like the ones in Philly have an impact on the game. I was just in Houston for games 1 and 2 of the ALCS, and there was a moment during a 2-strike count where everyone was sitting and relatively quiet, and I immediately thought to myself, If this was in Philly, everyone would be losing their shit. I'm not even knocking the Houston crowd. It was an overall pretty good atmosphere, especially for games where the Rangers kept the Astros mostly quiet offensively. But again, it just shows how intense the Philly crowd is at all times. Philly in general is crazy, no matter what sport it is. The fans are going to go all out, and the Phillies being in October is just yet another opportunity to showcase how crazy they can get. And the players clearly feed off all of the energy. So with that all said, watch the D-backs win Game 2 just to troll everyone. I honestly wouldn't be surprised at this point, considering how weird this postseason has been. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.